What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Busy Sticks, the Geek versus All Gaming talk show. I'm Josiah Leroy. With me today, the biggest, one of the biggest Zelda fans you're ever going to meet, Mr. John Fick. John Fick, first of all, that's a beautiful shirt.
Thank you very much. I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can accept that title as like the biggest Zelda fan or even the biggest Zelda fan.
Oh, you will.
I don't know if I can. This has not started. This is something that has started for me since Breath of the Wild. So I'm a new Zelda fan. I'm a very new Zelda fan. But boy, am I committed.
John, we committed is right. We do not gatekeep here, right? So you've been into this a few years, but head first, as much of a deep dive as anyone I've ever known when it comes to this. But good news, John. What we're doing today, we are talking about the Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. We've gotten just a handful of good reviews,
Just a
if not
handful. Just
if
a
not
couple.
great at times. That's it. It's doing moderately well. We're gonna dive into some of those numbers later. We're gonna see about a fantasy critic update that I'm particularly stoked
Are we?
about.
Do we have to look into that? I'm not sure. We have
We
to do that
have
this
to. I
episode. We
have
could.
some. No, I have some really cool things to say about it. It's good.
I
It's
think
good.
we could probably just shelf that till next month.
I don't. I don't think that's a good idea. But you know what? We'll flip a coin. We'll talk about it. But ladies and gentlemen, of course, we love video games here at the Geekiverse. What do we also love? We love beer. And what goes better hand in hand with video games than beer, especially when you are escapading through Hyrule, through countless hours. John, I'm going to have you go first. What is about to be in your system?
Picked this one up today. This is from Prison City, or is it Riot City or Prison City? I always get it confused. Prison City. I think they have a beer called Riot. Prison City Brewing. It's a double IPA. It is Citra Oasis. I've long been away from the hazy IPAs. I've talked about it in the past that they've been disappointing me. I still try them because I know that I like the style when it's done right, or if my palate is right, whatever it may be. Man, I had this one when I was cooking dinner tonight. Hits hard. Like, it's so good. It reminds me of everything I love about hazy IPAs. So I've come to the conclusion that I haven't stopped liking them. It's just got so saturated that people are making bad hazy IPAs. That must be it. Because like, this is excellent, and it brings me back to like those early days of Other Half where I just like fell in love with that style. So I think that's the answer. I just gotta find good hazy IPAs again.
Dude, that sounds amazing. I've got to try that.
Super good.
A lot of companies, if I may, get lazy with their hazy IPAs, right?
Yes,
Like,
lazy
it's a
hazies.
legitimate lazy hazies. That is a thing. And what do I know, right? But like, I feel like that is relatively an easy beer to make because
It's at least the easiest label to slap on a can because like, is it easy to
it
make? No,
is
because they're not good, but like, it's at least easy to put on a shelf.
e- easy to make, hard to master, is what I would say. From because you're right. There's stuff out there where you're just like, okay, you can't just say this is hazy IPA and expect people to love it. Like, you've got to put some love into
I
it.
feel like so
But
often they're not carbonated enough and they have this like gummy taste, which I've talked about before. Like, I just kind of like have this like literally like chewing gum forward taste that comes out of it. I don't know where it comes from, and they're also hand in hand not carbonated. And that's where like I'm like, is this the new hazy IPA? I don't like this, but no, alas, they still exist. They're still very good.
that glass, Nathan frickin' Drake over here. I um I've gone with one that is no surprise here, Thin Man's American Lemieux. Some of my favorite can art, by the way. So if you're watching this on Twitch or YouTube, that's our boy Tage Thompson right there in the Buffalo Sabres goat head jersey. Got some goats, some buffalo, some things going on. They absolutely nailed it when it came to the can art for this. This is an IPA. This is a 7%er. Um, John, you know my affinity for Thin Man. You know how much I love most of their IPAs. Minky Boodle is maybe my favorite beer ever. I think this one's just okay.
I'm right there with you, and they're like the epitome of my example of kind of just phoning in the hazy IPA. They have done so many great things in the past, but they put out so many hazy IPAs, and like so many of them hit like this is just fine, if not like I don't really like it. And I think that the American Lemieux kind of lands there for me too. I'm glad it exists. The can art is really cool. Our good buddy Trevor, he popped the label off that and put it on his guitar case. He sent me a picture of that today. Looks great.
Cool.
Incredible, really cool looking beer. I'm glad they made that collaboration. Again, I don't think it's a bad beer. I'm just not.
No,
I'm not buying it other than for anything other than the can art for sure.
it's just okay. That it is what it is. Serviceable for sure. But Jen, cheers, my bud.
Yeah, you got to
And you know
pick
what?
this one up. This one's really really good. Like killer.
Where'd you say you got it?
Wegmans. Our Wegmans.
Oh, dude, our Wegmans is straight fire when it
I don't
comes
even go
to
to
beer
consumers
selection.
anymore. I don't go to consumers because like
Same,
you know where I live, I have to pass our Wegmans to get to consumers. I'm like I'm not even making the trip to the beer store. Wegmans is just so good.
dude. Well, first of all, I love that this Wegmans has become our Wegmans.
Yeah,
Anytime we're talking with friends, right? Like that's that's ours. But legitimately, they are and much better than some of the other Wegmans in the area. They
100%.
are on when it comes to local stuff and stuff that just came out. It doesn't have to always be high profile. There are some gems in there, but the only reason I really go to consumers, it's so rare nowadays, is because they didn't have like the latest big dish. They didn't have the East Coast burner or West Coast burner. So like I went there hoping they had it because Wegmans at that time
Didn't.
didn't. Right? Like that's my spillover store now.
Right.
I think.
And even for me, like I'm noticing that consumers is more expensive. So you know me, I like the Fiddlehead IPAs. I get that case of the 12 pack. Consumers is $2 more expensive than Wegmans is for that, which is crazy. You're the beer store. How are you charging more than a grocery store for like the only thing you sell?
For sure.
Regardless,
Yeah.
this is only like 30% of beer podcast. We'll move on.
At best. So, uh, show and tell, John. I think you have a lot to show and tell this week. Some weeks we just don't have anything.
Man, I guess going by those proportions, if this is 30% of beer podcast, this is like 80% of show and tell podcast this week. All right,
Yes.
listen, Zelda came out. I've been really excited. I maybe went overboard and got caught up in the hype. And did I buy everything Zelda that came out? Let's find out. So first of all, we're gonna talk about our impressions on the game. Obviously, we're loving it. We're having a blast. Everybody is. I've got myself the collector's edition of the game. So I secured the collector's edition early on when they first went up for pre-order, however many months ago, and I secured it from Walmart. And like I'm like, okay, that's safe. It's gonna come eventually. Whatever. If I have to wait a day or two, or if I have to wait till end of day when it comes out, not a big deal. At least I secured the collector's edition. Well, I as the day was approaching, I'm like, it's coming up. It's Friday. Do I really want to wait all day for that collector's edition to show up whenever it shows up, or maybe not even show up because it's Walmart, right? So I start making plans. I'm like, what's GameStop doing? What is GameStop doing a midnight release? What's going on with GameStop? So I visit my local GameStop. They're like, yeah, we're doing midnight release. We didn't sell any pre-orders for collector's editions. Whatever we get, it's first come first serve. I'm like, oh, I can do first come first serve. I can do that. So I put down my $5 for a standard edition. I showed up right after work at 5 o'clock, and I waited in line outside of that store for 2 hours to be the first one to get a second collector's edition, not really knowing what I was going to do with this one. So, do I have two? Maybe. Possibly. Is there a third one right over my shoulder? Don't worry about it. We don't have to talk about that one.
This man.
We don't have to talk about that
Don't
one.
watch.
We don't have to talk about that one. One is open, one is staying sealed, one is going to a friend. That's the story.
And he's sticking to it.
And I'm sticking to it. I also got something.
There's more.
There's so much more, dude. So I also got the Pro controller. This one I got as well as you, my friend.
Look, we're twins.
Yes. So according to my wife's in the chat, he makes me sick. So this was supposed to be yours. I was going to that midnight release with the intention of scooping you a Pro controller and not getting one myself. But my GameStop only had one of them. And you know me, I'm a sucker for exclusivity. See it?
The roller coaster of reading the text where John is explaining that he got his hands on one, but it wasn't for me.
But then I followed it up with,
But then
I got you one. I did get you one. I was up at 2 a.m. when Target put their pre-orders out, and I locked you one in that same day. So we both have matching Pro controllers now.
Ladies and gentlemen, he got me the second one.
The second one. Hey, you got one, didn't you?
I can't complain. John's the reason I have a Series X, the OLED Switch, the controller, a few other things I'm not thinking about right now. So like, if John were like, even if you were like, hey, I got my hands on one, I'd be like, okay, keep it. But it's funny. So
right. And it's not like I collected the money beforehand, right? I'm not like stealing your Switch here or your controller here.
No.
Right. But you know, I feel you. I made it a goal to make sure I get you one before I confirm that I stole yours. So I wasn't gonna do that. So I also have.
I would have loved that story, by the way. If you're like,
Well, you're screwed, bud. It's mine now.
Be like, hey, John, can you go on FaceTime real quick? Daisy wants to talk to
Oh my
you.
god. It wouldn't make me budge. I love that controller. Um, I also picked up the official Tears of the Kingdom Link amiibo. They released that. That's super cool. Did they also re-release a handful of other Zelda amiibo from different games? Yes. Did I buy all of them? Relax. Don't worry about it. Don't ask me questions. You don't have to worry about it. My favorite one is the Majora's Mask one. That's super cool, and I got the best in-game reward from that so far. Super cool stuff. Am I done? Relax. No, I'm not. Um,
What's crazy is John bought a second code of the digital copy of the game just to have a second one.
I did not. I didn't do that. Have I done that before? Maybe with The Last of Us. Um, I bought this today too.
He's out of control, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, so yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So for audio listeners, this is the Zelda OLED Special Edition Switch. I am not opening this until I sell my Switch. I have got a 30-day return policy with Target. I was there today. They happened to have this. I'm like, okay, it's hard to find. I'm going to secure one. If I can sell my Switch, I'll upgrade to this. If I can't, it goes back. I'm not too worried about it. I'm not too in love with the Joy-Cons, to be honest. I really like the dock. So like,
yeah.
If it happens, it happens. I have it. I have it secured. It's still sealed. The receipt's sitting in the bag with it. We're going to do some marketplace work and see what happens. But yeah, I bought a lot of Zelda stuff, okay?
A lot of Zelda stuff. Like if it exists, it's here.
There's more things that like I got for pre-order bonuses, and there's the special edition comes with all sorts of awesome stuff. So like my desk and the floor of my office is just covered in Zelda stuff right now. And I'm having the best week of my life, so I can't complain.
It's great. I'm happy for you. Like we always talk, like we get excited when the other person does. Like you told me about Hot Mulligan, which is crazy. One of John's favorite bands drops an album the same day as Tears of the Kingdom comes out. I'm enjoying that. John's got me into that here. But like I'm excited that John's having so much fun with this. You know, this is good. This is a last hurrah spending spree before, you know, the big delivery
for the baby.
month.
Yeah, for the real delivery.
Just saying.
Courtney in chat said, I think our house value went up with the amount of Zelda purchases here. It sure did. It sure did.
I think so. You might need to up your insurance.
I'm doing this for us, Courtney.
That's love. That's love right there, guys. So it was perfect how I was able to swing by your place, get the controller. Daisy is now in karate, which is crazy. So at karate, that same day I picked it up. I go, Daisy, I have something awesome. Don't tell mom. I'll show you when we get home. And I thought maybe she'd forget, you know, it is what it is. And we get in the door. I kind of I'm holding the control or the box, but not like, it's a little bit hidden. Like I'm a little conspicuous with it. If she sees it, she sees it. I didn't think she did. We're walking around the house. I get into my bedroom because I'm going to go change quick. And I just put the control on our dresser, out of sight, out of mind. Daisy walks in and goes, hey, Dad. When are you going to show me the Zelda controller? And I lost it. I was like, oh my gosh. She knew not even just that I had a box, but that it was specifically the Zelda controller. We've looked at it a lot online.
So cool.
The way she just nonchalantly says it. Of course, as Lauren is standing next to me, I was like, you one rule, don't tell mom. It's okay. It's okay. But yeah, she's enjoying it. So we played a little Mario 3D World earlier, and we broke it in a little bit.
Nice.
It's amazing, really. I hate to say this, how cheap the Pro controllers feel, especially when you have something like a DualSense these days or X amount of controllers.
Yeah.
But
I think it's very comfortable for sure. I think like it is like ergonomically, I think it might be my favorite controller. There's just something about like the way it's like tilted forward a little bit. I don't know how to explain it, but like it's almost like falling towards the screen a bit, the way you hold it in your hand. Like it's super, super comfortable. Right. But like the biggest thing for me is kind of the triggers. The triggers not being analog and being like a single click trigger just make it feel weird when you're so used to like a fully spring loaded analog trigger. Yeah, I honestly, I would put it above the Xbox at this point, but that's just like my taste in the way that I've grown and the amount I've played these things. I have not even my theory. I live by this. The best controller, the controller you're gonna love the most, is the one that you're playing with the most right now. Like the one that you're most comfortable with. I was diehard Xbox all the way. Offset triggers, everything about the Xbox controller was always better to me until Sony had better games, and now all of a sudden I think the controller's better because I play with it more, right?
For sure. I do love the DualSense. I don't know that I'd put the Pro controller above Xbox, but give me time, right? Got a few hundred hours to put into Zelda here,
You sure do.
so we'll see. So update that was the longest show and tell we've ever had. That's incredible.
My bad.
No, it's awesome. So the Geekiverse fantasy draft. We have an update. I don't know if you want to take this one or if you want me to,
I've actually never
but
heard of the fantasy draft. You can feel free to. I don't know what you're talking about.
sounds good. So that being said, we've got our Geekiverse draft. We drafted video games much like you would fantasy football, fantasy hockey. We update you here every week on Busy Sticks. Well, I won the draft lottery, so I picked first in this draft. Thankfully, I had the crazy foresight to pick this game that was not a sure bet at all, which was Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. I don't think I've ever had anything close to this
All I want
at
to
all
say
in
is
our
that
few years of
Joe,
doing this.
you are so brave for taking that game. Like
I,
what a move.
I thank you, but I'm not brave, John, because I did hours upon hours of research to make sure this was the right pick. Anyway, I've had some misfortune this year. Suicide Squad not coming out. I have the worst counter pick almost ever in
Bad.
Hogwarts Legacy.
Bad.
However, with that -14 I got on Hogwarts, that makes my Zelda really a 20. So I have 34 points for Zelda, which is a critic overall score currently of 97. It's pretty damn good, right? So
97. 3 points of wiggle room between all of the critics that exist. Not just like a couple of sites, not a handful. All of the critics that write reviews online that are even somewhat notable or respectable, all of them combined, you have 3 points away from 100. Incredible. I did some digging. I looked back. We've done this our third year doing Fantasy Critic. We did 2020, 21. We missed 22, and we're now doing it for 2023. The highest games, so other than Tears of the Kingdom, which is at a 97, the highest games have been a 92. Nothing has cracked 92. And I had a couple of them. I had a very good year, I think, in 2021, where I had like 3 games over 90. I had a 90 and 2 92s. Like, incredible, right?
yeah,
97, dude.
it's unreal.
97. Unreal.
It's making up some ground for me here with those 2 games. So Tim had Resident Evil 4, which scored a 92, which was outstanding. But to put it in context, John, you have Jedi Survivor, which did great. That netted 15 points. JT, we mentioned, did Hogwarts Legacy. That was 14 points for him. This is 34 points. So like that's going to keep me in the conversation.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's enough to get me to the finish line this year, but that could be my saving grace with some of the things that happen.
You're technically in first place with points right now. You have the most points currently, and you are projected to finish behind Tim. The problem is there are some games for Tim that might not hit this year. Like Tim has some heavy hitters locked in here, but if they don't hit, they don't hit. He's got Hellblade 2, he's got Sea of Stars, he's got Final Fantasy 16. That one's probably locked in. But the score might be a little bit high in terms of like projections, in my opinion, for Final Fantasy 16. But that's all he has. He only has 5 games, so he's just projected to win based on like the average score of the games he has.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's realistic unless he actually starts adding some games to his roster. You have the most points right now.
I would agree. He's got to pick up a few games because I do not think Hellblade's coming out. Like, what the hell are you doing, Xbox? Oh my gosh, give us that game.
I could see the showcase that come out and say like, here it is, it's here for the fall. I could see it happening, but once the showcase happens and if it's not confirmed there, I have no hope for it.
Agreed. I'm totally with you. Yeah. So I obviously that was a big big one for me here. I'm excited about it. That was a clear no brainer number 1 overall pick. Whoever was winning that lottery, this is Connor McDavid, right? Like you're getting that pick. So we'll take it. We'll see how things go here. A little bit of a lull probably into the summer months, but we'll ramp up again for the fall, and you can bet we'll be paid attention to see where we can fill the holes on our roster. Hopefully Tim is as well. I mean, not from our point of view, but just, for the competitive nature of the draft. So, John, we'll make this quick and easy. Is there anything in the last week or so that has been in your system? Have you played any games outside of Zelda? Because we're going to get into our impressions on that momentarily.
Nothing. Nada. Nothing at all. I finished Jedi Survivor. We talked about that. I'm like, okay, I've got about 6 days until Zelda. let's hop into Jedi Survivor, let's finish stuff. I couldn't. I immediately flipped the switch over to Zelda mode. So I guess the short answer is actually yes. I picked back up Breath of the Wild, and I have just been wandering around the world, like getting back into the Zelda mode, learning those controls again because they are a little weird in terms of like comparing them to other AAA games. Control scheme is very unique. So that's it. Breath of the Wild, all in on Zelda again. I was watching like YouTube videos with story breakdowns. I was watching like early reviews of Breath of the Wild, just getting myself hyped. Like since we recorded last time, since I rolled credits on Jedi Survivor, all I've been doing is just engrossing myself in Zelda. And of course, have played a great amount of Tears of the Kingdom, which we will talk about shortly. That's our topic of the show, is going to be our impressions on that game. So nothing but Zelda.
You are right on the control scheme. It took a minute for me to break back into having to jump with X. I was like,
which in my brain is still why, because like
correct.
why in the world is Nintendo and
Why,
Xbox
why
just
would we
different?
do this?
And
Yes,
yeah,
yes, for sure. So, I'm with you. I, beat Star Wars, started pursuing the platinum on that, diving into some of the secondary stuff, which is so rewarding.
it's
And
so
that
good. It's so good.
it's not it's not Zelda where you're like, hey, like you said, there's that shiny thing over there. I'm gonna go see what it is, and so on and so forth, where you just wander. But there's a degree of that with Jedi Survivor. Um, the we'll segue here. I've not played anything else. The best compliment I can give from my point of view as a mega Star Wars fan who's obsessed and wants to play Jedi Survivor until I'm blue in the face is that Saturday night I planned on playing an hour, maybe 2 hours of Zelda, and then jumping back to Jedi. Well, I got into Zelda and then I couldn't put it down. I was like, okay, one more thing. I see it. It's on the map. I'm not that far. That's where I'm going next. Okay, fine. And it was one more thing after one more thing after one more thing to the point where I was like, oh shit, it's been 4 or 5 hours. I got to go to bed. So I didn't play Star Wars that night. That's a big deal for me to say that a game like this, I mean, this is a 10 out of 10 across the board, except for Game Informer, I think. It's fine.
9.75. Validate
It's
that. Try to validate 9.75.
whatever. It's funny that we can even be like, how could you? Like, that's saying so much. But to say for me that I played this over Star Wars, shit, man. This is the real deal. So let's break into it. Let's break into our impressions on the game. Like we said, sitting at a 97 overall Metacritic there. What was that feeling like, John? I recall going back to Breath of the Wild. You got the Switch in hand for the first time. How awesome it was snapping the Joy-Cons in for the first time. You pump in Breath of the Wild. You take a quick look at the menu to see what the interface looks like. You jump into the game. You awaken as Link. You come out into the world. You get that pan around, that relaxing, beautiful art style, and you just get goosebumps. It's one of like the top 10 moments in gaming for me that I'll just never forget. And it's such a subtle, almost inconsequential moment. Here we are a few years later. We get Tears of the Kingdom, maybe one of the most highly anticipated sequels of all time in any medium, let alone gaming alone. Get your hands on the game, you dive into it, and what are you thinking? How are you feeling when you see everything roll up on screen for the first time?
So what's so impressive about Tears of the Kingdom is that it is the same engine, the same Hyrule, with some asterisks there we won't go into, but some asterisks, but the same Hyrule, the same graphics, the same this, the same that. And it still somehow produces the same sense of wonder, intrigue, and satisfaction. The same feelings I had when I played Breath of the Wild. In Breath of the Wild, like you just mentioned, it had the launch of the Switch going for it. It had the fact that I've got this amazing new console that's a handheld hybrid. We've never seen anything like it. I can play it on the couch, same graphics as it is on my TV. Mind blowing. Breath of the Wild had all that going for it. I am just as blown away by Tears of the Kingdom. I am just as in awe. My jaw is just as far dropped with everything I learn about this game, everything I uncover. It's unreal how they pulled this off. It doesn't make any sense to me. I was not as hyped as I could have been because I just thought there was no way. Breath of the Wild was a once in a lifetime thing. It had the launch of the Switch going for it. It was the first Zelda game that was open world, and it reinvented open worlds. It did that once. How could it do it again? The answer is it doesn't need to. It doesn't need to reinvent it again. It needs to take that same formula and just reinvent how you interact with it to drastic degrees. The fuse system, all the different powers, everything like that. It feels like an entirely different game just taking place in the same familiar area. I really can't understand how this game has left the same impact on me as Breath of the Wild has, maybe even a bigger impact, because I got to consider the fact that it's the underdog. It has all of that working against it. It shouldn't have been this good. It couldn't have been this good, but it is. Man, I don't know if we're ever going to see another sequel live up to the expectations like this has, but that's just, is it just me? Probably not. Look at the reviews, but
It was not. Yeah. Man, the fuse system. I am in love with that. Like I am not
I was
one to
so
experiment at all
I was so
in
worried
games.
about that. Me and my buddy Phil, we work together. We're good friends. We have been for a long time. Both Zelda fans. We were both worried about that. Like, we're not tinkerers. We're not leveled. I don't when I boot up Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, I'm not doing the create a park. I'm just I'm just there to play the game, right? I'm not there to be creative and stuff like that. So we were
Same,
worried.
like I'll never play Minecraft. I
Right,
played it for 6 minutes. And I'm like, this is not for me.
right. I
I
understand the
understand the
appeal.
appeal, but not for me.
Not from 100% with you, right? And I'm like, I hope that this is not like a main component of the game. And I was such an idiot. Like, it is the main component of the game, and it's so approachable and it's so fun. Of like, why would I have thought
Because it
less?
could have been terrible.
Right.
It could have been terrible.
It could have been something where it's like, oh, I'm really not smart enough for this. I made a TikTok about this. Actually, I haven't posted it yet. It's in the drafts. Breath of the Wild, I'm sorry, Tears of the Kingdom makes me feel like an absolute genius sometimes, but sometimes it makes me feel like a fucking idiot, man. And like that's the best part about it. That's the best part about it. It's like, oh, why didn't I think of that simple solution that's right in front of me? But then it's like, you gave me all these tools and I made this cool thing. Like, I'm a genius. This is so much fun. Um,
Don't you think it's incredible how it? So I'm very early on. You're past me. A lot of people in our group text are just like they've not stopped playing. I love that. I'm not there. I have a few hours. I'm still very early. I'm on the where you start. Not to get into spoiler territory, I guess. Um, I think it's amazing how the game doesn't hold your hand, but in a good way, right? Like I'm not here to try to figure out a game on my own. You and I are very similar in that aspect where it's I don't want to say we need hand holding, but you and I like more linear experiences, more story based experiences.
100%.
Open worlds are not typically our forte. So if it's not super strong, I don't want it. But like the first time putting together a little barge to put the hooks on the rail, I remember looking around the environment and being like, all right, what am I going to use here? What? Oh, there's that there. You hit the button and you see everything that's glowing, everything that you can basically pick up with this
Yes.
power. And I'm like, okay, these are my tools. These are what I can do here.
Joe,
And going at it is like so rewarding.
it's so rewarding. And can I tell you that of the 6 or 7 people that I've talked to, you and I are the only ones that put the hook on the rail? There are so many ways to configure and get around that obstacle that other people thought of. You can do 2 carts side by side and have the one cart be off to the left, and you can miss the broken rail and go that way. There's so many ways.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I didn't think
Yeah,
of
yeah.
that. I thought of the hook, right?
Do you know what I did? So the broken rail one, I
Yeah.
did. Well, first of all, I didn't see the broken rail
So you
the
crashed.
first time. I saw it as I was coming up on it, like a roller coaster, by the way. And I go, oh no. I was gone. So whatever, restart. I made. You have carts there, right?
Yeah,
I
there's
think at
carts.
this
Yep,
point.
there's carts and
Okay,
hooks.
so I did 2 back-to-back carts, and I fused those carts, and then I just did like two hooks, and like that was it. That got me there. It was very basic, but
Right. Oh,
I didn't see it at first.
I did 1 cart, 1 hook, and I was in the cart with the hook.
Yeah,
But yeah,
like,
I've been on TikTok and like been like someone posted a respond to this saying how did you figure this out, and the amount of different ways people, like some people grinded on top of it with a shield, like figured out stuff that was just bizarre, and that's just what's so cool about this game. So like so you notoriously haven't been like blown away by Breath of the Wild. You enjoyed it, but it wasn't something you would consider like a transformative experience like many of us, like myself, would, right? Um,
For sure.
I've got another good friend of the show. We already mentioned him, Trevor Worth. He's the same way. It didn't hit him that way. And my advice to anybody who had that experience, who might want to try again with Tears of the Kingdom, is even if you're a gamer like you and I, and you like the linear experience, and you want to get the story done and stuff like that, backseat that. Forget about it. That's not what this game is about. And I know it's hard hearing that because you don't want to hear that because you just want to do the thing, right? Forget
Mhm.
about it. Just play it and just run around. Just run around, find some stuff, have some fun, grab a cart, go on a rail, and you will find something rewarding. And you will realize that, like, oh, this is a thing that I can keep finding. I can keep finding these Korok seeds. I can keep stumbling upon these shrines. Oh, there's a counter there. There's obviously a set amount of these. I could chip away at these. That's what I could do. I know my main objective is over there. The story of Zelda is not a strong point. That's not really what we're here for. We're not here for a narrative. It's still awesome and epic, and there's great boss battles and, dungeon design, of course, amazing. But what's what's magic about this game is just getting lost in the world and finding something that is fun to you. And there's so many things that you can pick out of that world that you can just focus on. For me, it was always the shrines. There's 120 shrines, Breath of the Wild. There's these mini little puzzles that it's like, I just want to find shrines. I want to do them all. I want that like 15-minute little challenge of like figuring out how to get through these. So happy they're back in this game. Plus so much more extra stuff. Um, but yeah, so like if you're like us and you're a traditional linear gamer and you want to give this a try, just fight all of those urges. Don't look at that yellow dot on the map. Forget about it. Just go have fun.
So you are spot on there. The backstory here, I really enjoyed Breath of the Wild. I pumped 25 hours into my first playthrough, which is not much, Um, got through some of the divine beasts, and for whatever reason, trailed off. And I went back, and I was like, I can't get back into it. Last year, or whenever I picked up the OLED, I dove back in. I'm like, that's what I want my first OLED experience to be, other than Metroid Dread. So it's beautiful design. It looks great on that screen, and I enjoyed it again. But again, I fell off. So a lot of times people think you have to beat one game before you beat the sequel or the next game, the next entry. In some cases, I think that's true. I don't think it's always true. Let me encourage you, as a gamer who does not often like open world gaming, unless it's something I love like Star Wars. If you find it daunting, if you find a game like Skyrim daunting, let's say, a game that did not resonate with me at all. I don't love the typical Bethesda craft your own story, make your own choices. No, tell me what my options are, what the story is. You wrote this, you built this. I want to enjoy it. That's my usual philosophy. I have found in just a few hours of Tears of the Kingdom that I'm going to take the chains off. I'm going to take the pressure off. I am going to beat this. I am going to commit to it. I'm going to beat the story, unlike I didn't do with Breath of the Wild. Crazy. But I'm going to do that. And I'm going to play as long as it takes me. I'm going to enjoy every little nook and cranny of that map. Like you said, John, you summed it up. Ooh, what's that shiny thing over there? Go do it. Go do, because you're actually making your character, you're leveling up, even if you aren't literally leveling up your character, because you're learning things. You're learning things to do, abilities. Nothing in this game is just by happenstance.
Nothing.
Everything here is very detailed. And that's mind blowing. Like, you can't cheat the game. It's all there. It all
Dude,
works as it should.
speaking of you can't cheat the game, so this is a stolen quote from, I think, so it's either Blessing or Tim, kind of funny, but it's a great quote. They give you all the tools in the world to break the game, but you can't break the game. You can't.
Yep.
The game is so polished and so good that you can't break it. So I think I commented that like in our group chat that I just finished a dungeon and I finished it and there's no way I finished it the way they wanted me to. But I think about that and it's like, no, the way they want you to finish the game or the dungeons or the shrines is the unintended way. They want
Yeah.
to give you as many tools as possible. They want you to find that weird thing. They want you to strap a rocket to a shield and fly yourself up and climb onto a wall that like was not the intended path to finish this shrine, but like you figured it out. Who cares what the real answer was? You got it. We gave you all these tools, you used them.
I think you're spot on there. And just again, to go back to my point, for someone where like I want you to point me in the right direction. I want you to say, here's the next objective, go do it. I don't care if you do side missions or not. I think with this game, again, from my point of view, if I can help prospective gamers out there who have not played either of these games, try to open up your mindset. You don't have to change your taste to play this game. But if you go in without the pressure of having to finish that main objective right away, to get there right away, the game teaches you this early on. There's a main objective, but you actually have to do a few side things before you do that. You really do. If you open your mind to that, you might be surprised at how relaxing, how rewarding, how much you enjoy this. This Star Wars, I needed to finish fast. Not that didn't deter me from enjoying the game, but it's so heavy in
You
story and
wanted
it's
to know
Star
what
Wars.
happened next, right? Like,
Yeah, I didn't need it spoiled for me, right? I needed to get there, and we also had to get our stim packs, right? So,
yeah,
so John, we did have to do some side missions too,
right.
but this is not that. I don't care if this game takes me a few years. I'm never going to be the first to get to the end.
Doesn't
I'm
matter.
always going to be way behind. That's fine.
So
I A part of why I wanted to get this, I just want to finish this thought. Even though I didn't finish Breath of the Wild, I wanted to get this because this is I would say there's a handful of events every generation in gaming. This is one of them where you're in group chats, people are telling you stuff. It's really not spoilery. You're going online, like you were saying, John. You go on TikTok and people are showing you 100 different ways to finish a specific mission or dungeon. That's what I wanted. I wanted that experience. There was a taste of that with Hogwarts Legacy for a bit, where everyone was talking about it, your choices, what school did you end up, all that. And I encourage you, get a Switch if you don't have one. Get this game, regardless if you played a Zelda game before. John, you started with Breath of the Wild. That was your real like big experience for Zelda.
yeah,
And here you are, enjoying it like I would say very few other games that you've ever enjoyed, if any.
right.
And I really think it's special. That's saying a lot coming from me.
And for more people who might be more like Joe and who like might be, you know, not sold on this or still need some help getting into Zelda, think of it this way. So, quick anecdote. I was talking to my buddy about this game and like it's about to come out, like, oh, I hope I don't get spoiled, hope I don't get spoiled. And I'm sitting there thinking like, what could you spoil about this game for me? And I'm thinking back, it's like there is not a single thing about Breath of the Wild that you could have told me, anything that could have spoiled my experience with that game, because it was all discovery. I don't care if you told me about it. It wouldn't matter. It was all about discovery. It was all about stumbling upon stuff myself and realizing like what this world was and learning how the mechanics work and like coming up with my own things to do in the game and like my own priorities, like the shrines or the Koroks, like stuff like that, right? So it was all my, like, I was which was like literally the thing you said you hated, not crafting my own story, because I agree with you. Tell me if it's a narrative game, tell me your narrative, right? But crafting my own experience with what I want to do in this world, and the game is like intelligently designed around that. So there, think of it this way with Tears of the Kingdom. There's like 7 to 10 main quests. You can do them. You can finish the game in like, I don't know, 6 to 8 hours maybe if you're like strong enough. Yeah, you're gonna have a terrible time. You're gonna be like,
Yeah.
what is Zelda all about? I don't know. I'm just literally going point A to point B, going to these different cities, fighting some bosses, solving some puzzles. Like, this game's not that cool. It's not about that. Understand that there's these like set objectives. Spend tons of time doing other stuff. And if you need to, look up a quick guide, nudge you in the right direction. If you feel like you're not powerful enough, just do a Google search. Best Zelda gear. And you know, follow a guide to figure out like what's the best gear to get. That's a blast. That's so much fun to do. Like, there's just so much fun to be had in this game, and the fun to be had is not to go look up the main objectives and go A to B to C to D and get to F, right? Like, that's not the way to play this game. And even if like that's the way you normally play games, I promise you that's the way we are too. Try it out. You're gonna love it.
It's so hard for me to portray that to people, but like you can't. You cannot get into that, I think, and enjoy it as it's meant to be enjoyed. And it's special in that regard. John, I think about Breath of the Wild. I mentioned my opening night. Lauren and I went to Best Buy, Niagara Falls Boulevard. That was our midnight release where we got the Switch, we got Zelda coming home. That was super exciting. Popping that up, just total darkness. You play the game, you get that first pan out of the world, and it's just special. So I think about other things like that summer in 2017. there was E3 that I was at. I was at Sunset Beach here in Western New York for a week, and I brought that game with me and just played it there. And I think about those things. I often think about when I see a movie or play a game that I love, like what was I doing around that time? What happened in my life? Or it could even be minute things like I was sitting in a beach house playing this game. I could have been out enjoying the nice sun, but instead I was playing video games. With this early on, John, with Tears of the Kingdom, it's only been a few days for us. But you've sent a few awesome pictures to the group chat. Around, you're sitting around a fire at one point. You're enjoying the game. Can you speak to that a little bit? I feel like that really helps us speak to how special this game is, where you could just play it anywhere and it enhances whatever you're doing.
For sure, and like it speaks so much to the approachability of the game because like I'm out having a bonfire with my wife. I'm not gonna go focus on a main quest on Zelda. Like we're having a conversation. We've got music on in the background, right? But I have my Switch with me, and I'm just doing nonsense. I'm just going and fighting random bokoblin bases, and I'm like trying to find new armor and stuff like that. And like whatever I stumble upon, I stumble upon. And that's the beauty of this game is like you can literally just do whatever for a little while and have a blast with it. Like you're not tied to some kind of strict storyline. So we talk about like the reason you and I like these linear games, and the reason we want to get through them is because the water cooler moments are the story peaks. They are the, oh my god, this cameo in Jedi Fallen Order at the end of the game. Oh my god, did you get to this boss fight in the middle of the game? Like those are the highs of those games. The water cooler moments in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom are, I can't believe I just did this. You have to see what I just did. You can do this too. Oh my god, you did that? Those are the water cooler moments. You got to like, so it's just such an experience. You just craft yourself, and again, not craft yourself in a story way because that's lazy and like whatever. We've established that already. It is just like spend time with this game however you want to spend time with it. And like, yes, it being on the Switch really lends itself to a lot of possibilities. Hanging out, like me and Courtney were watching a show called Yellow Jackets last night. I'm really invested in that show, so like I don't want to be fully invested in like on my phone or like on the Switch or something like that. But I'm just walking around Zelda and I'm just beating people up and grabbing their gear as I'm actually invested in Yellow Jackets, right? So it's a unique game. There's so much to it. There's so much depth to it. You talk about the fact that like you're barely into it. I'm 3 times as far into it as you are, and I'm barely into it, man. Like I've just started my experience. So this is one that's like, and that's another thing. Like these Jedi Survivors, these whatever, The Last of Us, the God of War Ragnaroks, the Spider-Man. We love these games. They're tentpole moments, but like those conversations last a week. Those conversations last like that. That's when the conversation is hot. We're gonna be talking about Tears of the Kingdom for a month or so, for maybe a couple months about like I'm not going to finish this game anytime soon. I'm not going to be to the end of my experience anytime soon. You're not going to be. Most of the people in our gaming group chat aren't going to be. So like, it's almost like those big blockbuster games are movies, and like this is like a season of insanely good TV where we just have a long time to sit with this and enjoy it, and have it be part of our culture.
It's such a good way to put it. I couldn't agree more. Like this is going to be a long drawn out quality season of whatever your favorite show is right now. Um, it's fun. I'm happy it's resonating. I'm happy selfishly that this is hitting deeper than Breath of the Wild hit for me. By the way, I'm gonna go back and play that again at some point.
I can't wait for you to love this experience and like to be transformed by it and then go back to Breath of the Wild because like it's just as good. I think Tears of the Kingdom is probably better because it has the benefit of just obviously doing everything better. But not to like a substantial degree. Like I think you're gonna love Breath of the Wild the same way you love this game. Hopefully, when you go back to it,
I will. I'm gonna commit to it. And here's another tip I would give for gamers or people who think a little bit like us in the regard to, like, if I hear Skyrim, I remember in the lead up to that game they were like, oh, 300 hours, that would be nothing, and I was like, I want to throw up. That sounds disgusting. 300 hours? I'm not saying I'm gonna put 300 hours into Zelda. Like that's not who I am. But
that sounds fine. Like that sounds reasonable.
It doesn't make me sick. It does not make me sick. Like if you say 75 to 100, I'm like, I could get there. Because you do that.
You're not missing out on like the story experience along the way. Like
correct.
And you don't have to sink that time into it in a 2-week period where you might get you might miss out on the conversation. It's not a slow burn, but it's just like it's something that's gonna be here for a while.
So what I would encourage people to do with this game is, yeah, it's great if you get lost in it, but try just to play a little whenever you find gaming time. So maybe that's a little every day, a little before you go to bed. Who knows, before you go to work, play an hour. Play a little at a time. You might be surprised where it takes you. I gotta say, I'm almost scared about after we finish this podcast how late I might be up playing it. What a great problem to have. Instead of, oh, I really got to get back to that game. I know I'm behind. I haven't played it. No, it's that I want to play it. I'm scared that I'm going to be up till 2 a.m. playing it, and I got to
Yes,
get up
yes, dude.
tomorrow at 6.
We
Like
just talked
that's
about we just talked about one
great.
of our favorite games of the generation, likely in Jedi Survivor, and there were points in that game where I'm like, I'm not dreading playing it, but like I gotta get through this because I want to see because I want to get to the end of the story. All right, like
Mhm.
sometimes in like the back of my mind it was a bit of a chore. And that's the same for all of my favorite games. Like I just want to get through them because I want to be part of the conversation sometimes. Like that happens with all of my favorite games. That doesn't exist with Zelda, with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. It is all just like I'm having a blast and there's nothing you can say that's going to stop that.
Here, here's another thing where I'm wondering if this is psychologically connecting me more to endearing me more to Tears of the Kingdom than Breath of the Wild. 2017 when Breath of the Wild came out, no kids, anything like that. Very, very less prominent schedule. Here, I have to be much more purposeful with my time. A few kids in the house, a few dogs, all that responsibility stuff. In a weird way, I'm wondering if because I don't feel an obligation to get to the next point to finish a chapter or an objective or a story point, that I'm like freed up.
I don't think that's weird. I think that's the point. I think that's what's so special about this game. Like it's not about these checkpoints. It's just about existing. It's about having this thing that you just get to experience and like do whatever you want with for as long as you want. It's not about the next tentpole moment that you have to get to before your friends get to because they're already talking about it. It's just about like whatever you want to do. So I vibe with what you just said. Like it is really just like there's no pressure. There's no pressure to get this done. There's just there's just the excitement that it's waiting there for you whenever you're ready for it.
Yeah, I just it's I'm gonna sound like a broken record, but it's so special. We throw that word around a lot, so maybe it loses its meaning from time to time. But this is truly special. It's next level special. Um, Even little things, John, like in the menu is the same. How you look at your inventory is all pretty much the same. Like that's silly, but I like it. It worked. There's a comfort there, a continuity,
A nostalgia
right?
for me. It sounds wild to be nostalgic for
Yeah,
something from 2017, but again, we talk about such like a big place and time for us. This is the launch of the Switch. This is like the first open world Zelda game, the first time many of us are getting into Zelda games. So like the sounds from opening up the map and closing the map and the sounds of for like leaving a ping and picking up items like that just feels like home to me, something I haven't felt since like 2017, 2018. So that's next level.
I even though that came out when I was 26, I feel like a kid again. Like
Yeah, for
it's
sure.
funny to say that to harp back on, but um, the design, everything that you would have loved from the first game, it's beautiful. How about the dynamic of being up in the clouds?
It's
That sense
cool.
of, oh, I'm up high
I'm
here.
up high here for sure. And again, that's something as like someone who's only played, I don't know, I don't even know, dude. Like I've literally had the game open like since it's been here and I've been working like just like listening to the sounds of the game. So like my game clock is screwed. I have no clue like what my actual game clock's going to be. I would guess maybe I've played 10 hours, I don't know. But I haven't really had that much experience with the cloud cities or what are they called? The sky I forget.
I wish they were called Cloud Cities. Let me
Yeah, I
tell
knew I
you.
knew that was wrong once I said it. I knew that's Star Wars. I forget what they're called, but I haven't had too much experience with them. You start up there, that's like the starting area, and then you've got options to go back. I've only like gone up to like the little hub areas from some of the towers and from of the I used the recall ability to go up with some of the like the asteroids that fall down. I haven't spent too much time up there, but like the fact that that exists is like that's at the top of the show. I said that this is the same Hyrule. There's an asterisk there. There's so much more to do. Like there's an entire map up in the sky that like there's shrines and Korok seeds and I imagine dungeons. I haven't gotten there yet, but um, it's yeah, brilliant to just add a map on top of a map.
It is it is different for sure, but it's executed so well. Um, is there anything that has come to mind? So, if you're watching, thanks for tuning in live at twitch.tv/thegeekiverse or watching the video back at YouTube. Uh, is there anything that we want to dive into that we haven't before we kind of sew up our impressions here? Because I know we could gush about it all night here, and rightfully so. But like anything you wanted to chat about here?
No, I think we kind of covered it. I mean, we're talking to a couple of different audiences here. I think we kind of harped on people who might not be interested in getting the game. There's not many of them, to be honest. Like basically everyone who owns a Switch, played and probably enjoyed Breath of the Wild. We were kind of coming at it from our point of view, and you specifically as somebody who didn't really like Breath. Not that you didn't like it. You weren't enamored by it the same way a lot of people were, right? It wasn't a transformative game, a game of the generation
Right.
type game for you. You loved it,
I
right?
exactly. To say I loved a game like that, but like love is almost not enough, right?
Right.
For like a lot of people, it's like I wasn't there, but I really enjoyed my
Yeah,
time
like
with it. Yes.
your love seems like a 7 based on like our obsession, which seems like a 10. It's kind of where kind of where I get that.
I'd say 8 or 9 closer, but
Okay,
yeah, not a 10.
fair enough. Fair
But
enough.
I don't disagree with people who say it is a 10,
Yes, yeah,
if that makes sense.
totally, yeah, absolutely. It makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. But no, not much else to say. Anyone who's interested in this game already has it and already has 10 hours into it. I'm just so excited to keep being a part of this conversation. Literally, every other video on my TikTok is somebody just talking about the game or somebody just like showing something insane that they did. Like it's a blast and it's not going to go anywhere anytime soon. So yes, be be ready for more Tears of the Kingdom talk on this podcast for sure, and especially on our TikTok page. That's all I've been talking about on TikTok right now is Tears of the Kingdom, and people seem to like that because it's been going well.
Much like the way I buy entire rows for premiere movies at Regal, and you can't get your hands on tickets or it crashes. That if you can't get your hands on Zelda merch, then
That's
it's
my
because
bad.
of John Fay.
My bad. I got it all.
That's your guy right there. That's your Zelda dealer.
I got it
Um,
all.
yeah. In a second here, we're gonna play guess the game. John's gonna guess the game tonight, so I've got one in mind. Last week went well. I got the answer. I got it in 15, which is the
Yeah.
limit, but
What? Yeah,
it was close.
I was unsure about that one. I wasn't sure if you were going to get it right away or if it was going to be something that would stump you. I would say about halfway through, I was pretty confident you were stumped on that one. So it was impressive to see you pull that out.
I appreciate it. I was struggling, but at the end of the day, we got the end result. So finishing up Zelda here. Loving my time here. Go get it. You don't have a Switch, go buy a Switch and then get this. They're so accessible now. They're cheap.
One
Get
last
an
thing.
OLED if you can.
Get an OLED for
Oh
sure.
my gosh.
I know somebody. I know someone who's selling one. So if you need somebody who has an extra one, I might have a person for you. But one more thought. There was some skepticism, some fear that this game being on a at this point 6-year-old console, 7-year-old console, in Breath of the Wild, not being the best performance wise at launch, stuff like that. That like it's a bummer that the sequel to Breath of the Wild is launching on the same hardware as Breath of the Wild. A lot of people were bummed we didn't see a Switch Pro before Tears of the Kingdom. Don't worry about that. Don't worry at all.
It's fine.
It's fine. Not only is it fine, it's so good. Like take this, like a game like Jedi Survivor, which is on a technical level is a beautiful game and they've achieved great things, runs like dog shit. Like there are so many small issues that for a lot of people could add up to be big issues, right? Tears of the Kingdom they play it safe. It's the same engine, but the game is flawless. Like there are no bugs. You can't break this game. You can't figure out an issue with this game. Yes, it's 1080p. Yes, it's the same Zelda engine, but it's the even just the opening area. They straight up flex their art design. They flex the fact that we are in the sky. The lighting is beautiful, even in the same Breath of the Wild engine. Like we can still wow you in some ways. So don't be too worried about that. Like sure, it's a sequel to Breath of the Wild. The haters and the memes out there are gonna be like, oh, it's the same game. Insane. It's not.
And let's say it is the same game. Oh, okay. We just got a 10 out of 10, so that's not so bad, I guess. But you were right. I was concerned about this. I was worried this was going to trudge in some cases. It doesn't. I'm actually surprised it doesn't. And this
Right.
is their premier property, right? Like Mario notwithstanding. This is as popular as it gets for Nintendo. It's great. It works.
And not only does it just work and like perform okay, it is impressive in some ways. Like they did step it up and again more art design because again it's the same engine, it's the same technology. Like it doesn't technically look better, like with geometry and things like that. But like they stepped it up in terms of the way they present this game, and it's noticeable.
Yeah, yeah. Kudos. It's a masterpiece in every sense of the word. Just a legendary game here, of course. Uh, Pick it up. We want to hear your impressions. What's your favorite part of the game? Let us know on social media. Again, whether you tune in live at twitch.tv/thegeekiverse or watch it back at youtube.com/thegeekiverse or listen in on podcast services around the globe. All right, we're going to move on. We're going to finish up with our favorite segment here. Guess the game. John is the culprit this week. He's going to have to guess the video game that I'm thinking about in 15 questions or less. He's got to ask yes or no questions. We've had some good success with this. For the most part, John and I have gotten the games. We've gotten to the finish line here. Again, I got there just in the nick of time last week in 15 questions with Infamous Second Son, an underrated game.
I
Oh my
totally
gosh, I love
agree.
that game.
Totally
Oh,
agree. I
I
love
love
that.
it so much. But anyway, I digress. We're going to play today. John, are you ready to guess the game?
I love guess the game. I hate guessing the game.
should we ask Tim if he's available to help you or
No, I'm fine. I'm fine.
okay, good.
He's got enough to worry about right now.
That puts it in context. Yeah. All right. Well, let's do this.
Let's do it.
John, guess the game.
All right, I'm gonna do it. Is this game exclusive to any of the three major console manufacturers?
No.
Oh, that's not fair. um, you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So not exclusive. Let's go with some generation stuff, some year stuff. Did this game come out PlayStation 4, Xbox One generation?
No.
Not originally. Okay. All right. I'm gonna stick in that vein. Did it come out in the PS5, Xbox Series generation?
Yes.
Ooh, we're talking a new game. A new game. Okay, new games. Um, tried and true. Is it playable on the Nintendo Switch?
Yes. I was going to say debatable, but yes.
That's fair. If it came out on this generation, debatable on the Switch is for sure. Okay. So it originally came out on PS5 and Xbox Series. It's on the Switch. I have 4 questions.
We're on a good path already.
Yeah, always.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. Sometimes not, you're right. Is it playable on all 3 consoles? The PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, and the Nintendo Switch?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Third of the way there.
Yep, 5 questions down. Um, hmm. What kind of game is this? What kind of game could this be? Is this or could this be considered a shooter?
I, I'm like, can
Hmm.
I answer this with a more than a yes or no?
It's up to
Um,
you. I'm the one
I'm gonna
restricted with my
say
questions.
right. Well, in all fairness, I don't think this game can be considered a shooter.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Uh, yeah,
I trust your judgment there. Unless I don't at the end, and then we got a big problem.
that could be misleading.
It's okay. I've worried about that too. We've never been too far off on our questions and answers.
Would the genre, if you say what is this game, if you said a shooter, I would say it's wrong.
That's fair. PS5 Xbox Series and Switch. Originally launched on this next generation of consoles. Not a shooter.
Ooh, Timmy.
Oh, congrats, Tim. Hell yeah.
Tim. Tim won an election tonight, folks.
Yes. Great job, Tim.
So cool.
So happy for
Yeah.
him.
Hell yeah. It's great. Now he can join Guess the Game.
Yeah, pop on. I'm sure he's watching.
You don't want to sound.
No, no, no. Hmm. Okay. Oh, I don't know if it's on Switch. I think it might be cloud version, but that would still count. I'm just taking a shot. I'm taking question 7 to take a shot. Um, is this game Guardians of the Galaxy?
Is this game Guardians of the Galaxy? It is not.
No, I was really confident. I was pretty confident.
That was really good.
That was a PS5 Xbox
Yep.
Series launch, right?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
dude, that was our game, our Busy Sticks game of the year.
It should have been. Okay. And I think there's a cloud version on Switch. That could be wrong, but like, it
No,
was
I think you're right.
if
I
there's
think you're
not,
right.
whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
And that was like right on the cusp of like, no, it's not a shooter. Sure, Star Wars has guns, but like, no, it's not a shooter. So that was kind of getting me there.
Right. Right.
Uh,
Second question.
that's number 7. Hmm. World. We're talking like 2020 to now. Okay. This will help. To the best of your knowledge, have I played this game?
Yes.
Okay. That helps a lot.
Mm-hmm.
uh,
That was the opposite of my
uh-uh.
one of my favorite videos ever.
It's so good. I think I need like a
No,
re-edit of that. I think I can make it even better and get some more traction on it. Um, would you consider this an open world game? Okay, open world. I've played it. It's on the Series X, PS5, and Switch.
right. How often does that happen? We never do that.
uh,
We like our exclusives.
right. Um, hmm. Is this game part of a franchise?
Yes.
Franchise. Okay, franchise.
All right. 10 in, 2/3 of the way there. You know a lot,
Got 5
but
left.
also a little.
You're right. Game that's part of a franchise.
Yep.
On the originally released on the current generation consoles,
Mhm.
also somehow playable on the Switch.
Right.
Hmm.
It's so funny even going back and playing like early Switch games. Like Daisy and I have played a few recently that are like 2017, 2018. They don't I've played these on other systems. They don't work well on the Switch. Oh
No.
my goodness.
No.
It's
No. No.
bad in some cases, which makes Zelda all the more impressive.
Right.
It's like, no, it can be done.
Can be. Needs to be developed by Nintendo, but it can be
It
done.
does. For sure.
I'm really hung up on like this. The fact that it's such a new game, but also playable on the Switch. I feel like there's not too many of them. Why can't I nail this down? Not a shooter. That's also hurting my brain.
Hmm.
I'm going a couple of different places, but I think they're all the wrong place.
Like I said, don't get hung up on that. It's not classified as a shooter. Like the genre is not shooter.
Right.
I think that warrants saying.
Um, this will help a little bit. This will be question 11. Is this game primarily played in first person perspective?
No.
Okay. It's helpful. That narrows down like two things I was going for. Got one. Don't think you would do that, but you could. You didn't think I would do Infamous Second Son, and I did.
To be fair, I don't know if I ever thought about it, but
Let's see. Let's see. Let's see.
hmm.
All right, I have a question to ask, but it's like a question specifically about this one game I'm thinking of. So let's see if I can apply that to anything else.
It's okay. Last week,
Yeah, you did like three
I
in a
guessed
row.
like 4 games,
I know, I
like
know.
that just were not there.
I'm just trying to
Crazy.
maximize guess potential here.
Okay. This will be question 12.
Right. Um, did the game come out this year?
No.
Okay. I had Hogwarts Legacy on the brain.
Oh.
Okay. Not this year. Xbox Series. It's PS5. It might melt your Switch. Not
Yeah.
classified as a shooter.
Yeah.
Man. Everything other than the shooter thing had me like ready for Overwatch 2. But that's a shooter.
Mm-hmm.
That's a shooter.
It's not easy.
No, doesn't seem like it.
No.
Also not first person. Primarily at least.
I, John, I don't want to put any pressure on, but I don't know which fic is gonna get this first. Courtney is texting.
Oh, is she?
She's she's coming in with some big guesses here,
I don't feel
but
good
she
about
is not.
this.
She she's not gotten there yet.
All right, that's good to know.
She's killing it, but not quite there.
I need to go back to the fact that I've played this game.
That is true. That is true.
Okay, I've asked 12, right?
You've asked 12. Yep.
So I've got 13, 14, 15 plus a guess. Okay. Is this a narrative focused game?
I would say no.
Oh, dang it,
Th-
dude.
I need to again. Wait, why do I do this? There's narrative in it, yeah.
Sure.
Like, but it's not like
Okay.
I don't think of it as a story game.
The game I was thinking of in that vein, which maybe it was a PS4 originally. No, I think it came out Xbox and PS5. I was thinking of Life is Strange True Colors. So that, I mean, that wouldn't even really have been close with a conversation with Shooter, but certainly very narrative focused. 2 questions. Plus a final guess. This is tough, dude.
It's very tough. I knew this would go one of a few ways. No doubt. It's tough.
No doubt.
Courtney had to dig up the wound that was me missing Animal Crossing.
The week I came in with a layup. I came in with a layup. Who knows? Maybe I'm missing a layup.
Biggest freaking video game of the generation, Animal Crossing. I don't know. I never heard of it.
Nintendo. I'm out of Nintendo IP. All of their good stuff is gone.
I couldn't think of it.
Okay, this is to the best of your knowledge. Did I play this game on PlayStation 5?
Yeah, I think you did.
Okay,
I don't think it.
that's
I don't think
okay.
it would have been
Again,
expected.
it's just that's the best of your knowledge question. I understand. I understood the risk when I asked the question.
I'm pretty sure.
I understood the risk when I asked the question. Franchise, John. It's a franchise game. There's a lot of them. There's a couple of them. There's at least 2 of them.
Dude, Courtney's hitting hard with the. Oh my gosh, like she's killing it. Again, hasn't gotten it, but you'd be proud, man.
I mean, I've given her 14 questions to go about. All right.
That's true. She's not asking the questions. Big difference.
She gets just
Big
whatever.
difference.
Guess.
She's just playing at home.
She gets
you know?
to guess forever. No, it's still impressive that she's even sniffing.
But
around
if
the
she
answer.
was only guessing video games, still impressive.
Not bad. Not bad.
No. She hasn't played nearly as many as you and I.
That we know of.
Oh, that's true.
$14 questions. You gotta be. I don't. I'm not even sniffing around it. So I really need something to help me out here.
Yep.
I can't just like pull something out of nothing here because there's nothing.
Right.
I'll tell you that for
Right.
sure.
It's tough. You want to get something that at least narrows you into a certain area.
Right. At least somewhat. I'm like kind of all over the place with this. Is a franchise thing? That one's hurting me. So
Yep.
when you consider things that have, just clarifying, originally released on was my question, right? PS5, Xbox, Switch. You take into account remakes and remasters too, right?
Yes. So this game in no way, shape, or form existed prior to this generation.
Got it. Not that it makes sense for any of the questions, but like an RE4 remake couldn't have gotten through that crack.
Correct. I think that would be like a caveat question that we would address.
Got it.
That would be like a gotcha, which we don't.
We don't do that. We're not trying to gotcha.
No.
We're trying to have fun. We're not trying to gotcha.
Agreed.
This is difficult for me because like I have gone through like month by month what I have played on PlayStation in my brain. Okay, hold on. Okay. Maybe, just maybe.
Do we have another infamous second son here, folks?
On question, am I on 15?
You're on 15.
Okay, I'm just gonna guess. I think just to, I got a cat just fall out of a window, basically. Could you see that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. The Discord or the recording can't see it. It's cropped out. That's amazing. Marvel just knocked down his window cling.
Oh yeah.
Okay, question 15. Is this game Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Number 15, baby.
He did it.
Oh
He
my
did it.
god.
And you beat Courtney.
Got
Oh,
her. She's
I
in
was
the
giving
room.
her clues.
You
Oh, dude.
were getting clues?
Yeah. That was
Oh,
so good. Dude, I was like, this is like a generic ass
dude,
game. You're like,
I
and it,
that's a tough one because like you would think that it's so specific, but like there's so many qualifying questions that could relate to that game.
it's on every system imaginable. It just came out last year. So it wouldn't have helped you, but like it's also out on PS4 and Xbox One.
I yes, I
Um
thought about asking that question. I had that in my back pocket. I'm like, what would that help me though? It really wouldn't
it
help me.
Nope, it wouldn't. It's definitively not a shooter. You can shoot in it, but that's not what you and I would
100%.
or most people
No
would say
gripes
is
there. No gripes there. 100%.
um it was so great. So Courtney and I were going through
Wait,
just some of the
what were
hints,
her
some of the games.
guesses?
Dude, I'm not kidding. She was doing great. Um, she was like, the game in Haven. What was that called?
Oh,
It was like
we
Life is
both got
Strange, but
there. We both got to Life is
yep,
Strange.
yep, yep. I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. Um, what else did she say? She got to Astro. We did that one before. She said Animal Crossing, and I was like,
You
um,
should have done that.
I know. She was wondering about Pokemon, but that is exclusive, so that would get rid of that. But my hints were, oh, she goes, give me a hint. I said it would be a giveaway, but first, I love this franchise. And then we said on the show that you and Daisy should play it, which
That should have been a good hint.
I mean, you would never get there, but like, yeah. Anyway, that was fun. John, nice job. How about that? You and I always have this reciprocity when it comes to these.
I
So like,
know.
we just had a 15 and a 15 back to back. I've been sending that TikTok that you made last week of ours to everyone. Like, it's so much fun.
It is so
So
much
I
fun.
can't wait to see if you end up doing this one as
Oh,
well.
100%. I'll make that for sure. I made
And
that
me just
TikTok.
sitting
I
here.
made that TikTok almost a week before I posted the episode of the podcast.
I see John 2 days ago. He goes, I have a bone to pick with you. I'm like, what did I do? It's like, you didn't tell me I didn't post the episode. I didn't know. I didn't know
uh,
that he didn't post Busy Sticks. It just
Neither of
happened.
us knew. Nobody knew.
It's okay. It's out there. It's out there,
It's
right?
here now.
Right?
It's here now. It's 100%. It's here now. You can go watch our review, a full review of Jedi Survivor, in depth,
Yes.
detailed review, spoiler free, but in depth.
Back to back banger episodes here. We talked about Star Wars and we talked about Zelda. Can it get any better than that?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
So unless something, crazy comes out next week, like Suicide Squad gets resurrected, but that ain't happening. So, what a wonderful episode of Busy Sticks, a great version of Guess the Game. John got it there at the last minute, just like I did. So, thanks again for tuning in live to twitch.tv/thegeekiverse. Hopefully, you subscribe at youtube.com/thegeekiverse or listen on podcast services, wherever you may download those. John, wrapping thoughts here on just what we went through there, games in general, Zelda, anything at all.
I'm just having the best time, dude. Like it's all I can say is like I'm just having the best time being a gamer right now. Just came off like an amazing sequel in Jedi Survivor, and now I'm like got my teeth in maybe the best sequel to any video game of all time. Like I'm just living. I'm living life.
It is, as we say, a good time to be a geek. Stay tuned. We're going to have a live stream in the coming weeks here, as we often do. But this one is going to be to promote and raise funds for the 11-day Power Play, which is set in Buffalo, New York. Myself, Tim Talbot, our good friend of the show, Derek Kramer, we are a part of a team that plays ice hockey for a 3-hour shift in June, which is all dedicated to putting cancer on ice. Funds that go to this event actually go to places such as Roswell Park, Camp Good Days, Make-A-Wish Foundation, Western New York, and many others. So we'd appreciate your support there. More to follow in the coming days and weeks on that. And man, can't wait for next week's Busy Sticks already. For John, I am Josiah. Thanks for tuning in. We hope you have a wonderful night. Happy playing Tears of the Kingdom.